I caught a shiny Pokemon of every single type in Pokemon Violet. I've been shiny hunting for a while now in Scarlet and Violet, but I really didn't have a whole lot of direction. I would just choose a Pokemon, go for it, find it, and then just move on. So I wanted to give myself a bigger challenge in this game, and I decided that I should find one shiny Pokemon of every single type. This way I would be forced to hunt for a lot of Pokemon that I wouldn't necessarily look for otherwise, or if just ever used in playthroughs. So I went through the entire Paldea Pokedex looking at every shiny Pokemon sprite and picked out what I thought were the best shinies of every type, giving me a total list of 18 different shiny Pokemon to look for. And I want to make a quick note here for dual types. I chose to recognize just one of their types to count towards this list. This way I could use some cooler Pokemon instead of just using monotypes. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. To start off day one of this challenge, I asked my chat what types they think I should hunt for first. They decided that I should start with 3 basic types of water, fire, and grass. While I wasn't exactly sure where to start, I checked the map to find a Finizen outbreak. While I had originally planned on hunting Wugtrio instead, Finizen is one of my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon and has a fantastic shiny, so I didn't want to pass up the opportunity to see this one. I headed over to the outbreak and started knocking them out to boost my odds, and once I hit 60 knocked out, making my odds 1 in 819, I decided to boost them even further by making an Herba Mystica sandwich to bring my odds all the way down to 1 in 512. While this isn't usually necessary for this method, I wanted to have the best possible odds since resetting encounters in the water is really difficult. And for that reason, I thought this might take a while, but about 15 minutes later, I found it. Oh, let's go! Shiny! Hell yeah! I didn't save. Please. Please. Shiny Dolphin! During the song, chat, we got it! We got one! I was thrilled to find this first shiny so quickly and to add such a great one to my collection, but with water down, it was time to move on to the fire types. For this shiny, I headed over to the Kitakami region to pick up a Gen 2 Classic Slugma. Yeah, okay, I don't want to hear any of the jokes. This is another incredible shiny, but it's a little scary to hunt here because its shiny is almost the exact same color as the mountain it resides on. I got my fire sandwich cooked up and started circling. Luckily, the spawns are incredible in this area, making it super easy to check a ton of Slugma in a short amount of time. And with spawn rates like that, it felt like we were bound to find one. Change to Finizen. Oh, like right there. All right, we didn't miss it. Gray Slug. Believers rejoice. There it is. Oh, look at it. So happy. With one down and plenty of time left on this sandwich, I wanted to keep looking to see if I could complete the set. And 10 minutes later, I managed to stumble upon yet another. And if you really want to get technical, you could have the virtual console copies. Oh, second shiny slug. Cool. And now that I had both of those, I just kept looking around to see if I could get anything else here. Litwick also spawns in this area and has a great shiny, so with a few minutes to spare, I did a few last runs up and down the mountain. Maybe this was out of greed, maybe out of desperation, but either way, it ended up paying off. Wait, I think this is shiny too. Oh my goodness, chat. This sandwich is goated. The goated sandwich. And with a final shiny and a newly evolved shiny Macargo, it was time to finish up the last of the starter typing trio. The final shiny I had in mind for this stream was Toedscool. I've loved this Pokemon since it was added in Gen 9 and thought it would make for a great addition to the shiny collection. While Toedscool's shiny may be considered a little underwhelming because it's basically just grayscaled, the evolution looks incredible and was worth making the effort for. I started with a grass encounter sandwich and patrolled the top left corner of the map looking for shinies. I noticed pretty quickly that there were a ton of other grass Pokemon that were spawning in more abundantly, making it really hard to find Toedscool. And while the Toedscool hunt wasn't progressing exactly as expected, that doesn't mean we didn't have some wild moments during this one. And at the rate at which I'm finding Fomantis, I feel like I should do it the honor of looking up a shiny. I'll at least give it that. So shiny Fomantis and Lurantis are like yellow instead of pink. So that's pretty obvious, it looks like, at least. Oh, I'm glad I looked that up. What the hell? With one shiny found, I knew this area possessed what it took to find the shiny Toedscool I was looking for. And when my grass sandwich ran out, I decided to take advantage of Toedscool's dual typing to make a ground type sandwich instead. This proved to make all the difference as Toedscool started showing up all over the place. I knew this was exactly what I needed to find shiny Toedscool, and I could not have been more correct. It's the way to go, because one, you either get points, or two, we find a shiny. Like, You are set up in the best possible scenario. You win either way. Oh, well, yeah, now you lose. And there we go. All right. Shiny Toad's cool. Oh, let's go. Another one. Another one. Let's go. So that is the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th shiny of the day. Make it 8. It's too easy. It's too easy, chat. It's too easy. Let's go. And we find the Toad Scroll. We've got them all, chat. With 4 shinies on the final sandwich and 9 total shinies on the day, it seems like a perfect place to finish off the first day of this challenge. The next day of this challenge, I started with a similar approach. I took a quick look at the map and found that yet another Pokemon I wanted to look for was appearing in outbreaks. With Rockruff on the map, I headed over to knock out 60 of them. From there, I again whipped up a rock-type sandwich to further increase my odds of finding one. While Rockruff was the only thing spawning in, it took a bit of time and one of the weirdest chat conversations ever to get one to spawn in. Also, cue a shiny right now with James talking about Discord kitten queens. All right, here's your clip. Loading, 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 and... You can't make this shit up, man. You cannot make this shit up. With one down, I was super hyped, but I wanted to keep looking so I could potentially evolve it into one of the various forms of Lycanroc. So I kept searching for more clues and found the only way to summon this shiny was to read the most out-of-pocket messages from my chat. Well, a car stopped Princess Diana, so maybe that. How does this keep happening? Why? You can't keep getting away with this. With this, I got 2 shiny dogs and decided that I should just move on to the next one before chat got too out of hand. For the next shiny, I decided to head into the caves to look for another incredible Alolan shiny. Well, I had already caught a fire type, Salandit was going to count towards the poison category instead. The main hurdle with this Pokemon was trying to find a female because only female Salandit will evolve into Salazzle, and I really wanted to see if I could find one, or if just a shiny Salazzle would show up in general. I did make a fire sandwich just to narrow down the list of possible encounters, but it was time to start looking for the shiny lizard. And a few seconds later, I thought I had the best shiny luck of my entire life. That was 5 seconds, chat. Oh, wait, what? That's not shiny? Oh, come on. I got baited? That does not... Okay, well, thought that was a shiny Pokemon, so I'll just see myself out. This made me realize that the lighting in the cave was going to be a bit of a problem. While Salandit's shiny is incredibly different from the regular version, the lighting made all of these Pokemon appear like they were gray/white compared to the darker black that they really are. With that fear reigning over me, I kept looking very closely, and after a little more looking, it became very clear to me what the shiny looked like. My eyes are fighting for my life right now, just trying to see. That looks shiny. That looks very shiny. Okay, there we go. We got one. We got one. No eye surgery necessary. Unfortunately, this one was a male, but it was great to have one on the team, and I was certainly less worried about noticing the shiny now, but still found myself really closely looking at a lot of these Pokemon, especially the Salazzle that spawned in. I kept going around and even tried to prove that point to my chat, but I accidentally ended up just making a fool out of myself in the process. The lighting in here is so absurd. Like, does that Salandit not look fully like glowing white from right here? Oh, well, that was a really bad example because it's actually shiny. Oh, I do not make it easy on myself, do I? Unfortunately, it was yet another male Salandit, but I kept on trekking. But it turns out that I had found all the Salandit this cave had to offer, and with 2 more shinies on the day, I decided to move on to the final shiny hunt of this stream. The final type my chat decided on for the day was Ice. While it may be one of the weakest types, Ice is one of my favorite typings in all of Pokemon, and I was super excited to look for the next one on my list. I headed up to the mountains, this time to look for Citadel. I was really excited to hunt for this Pokemon because I needed a new Pokemon for raids, and Cititan is an absolute beast. I cooked up a nice Ice type sandwich and got to looking. Similar to the Toad School hunt though, I found that I was encountering a ton of different Ice types in addition to Citadel. And while that was exciting, I really wanted to find Citadel and was afraid I was going to phase with a ton of other shinies first. While this normally wouldn't be a concern, I had a pretty limited number of Herba Mystica, which meant I really should be resetting if I don't find the exact shiny I'm looking for with each hunt. And pretty quickly, I ran into the exact problem I was worried about. Well, it's something. It's something. I'll take it. I wasn't really super upset about the idea of having to reset over Shiny Sneasel since I managed to find one forever ago in Shining Pearl, but it did make me start thinking about what shinies warranted resetting versus just saving and trying another sandwich. And instead of finding a different shiny, I just ended up finding more of the same. With another pink Sneasel secured, I was really on the fence about resetting or not. I decided that finding pretty much any other shiny would mean I'd keep this save, but I made it through the rest of the sandwich without seeing anything else and decided that the potential for shiny Citadel was worth the sacrifice of 2 shiny Sneasels. Gone. And also, gone are the 2 Sneasel. Sorry, chat, if you wanted them. They're gone forever. Another successful sacrifice. But you know what that means, chat? It means we're about to find hella shinies. That's always how this has worked. The second that we toss a couple out, we find a ton more shinies the next time. So with those 2 pink souls sent to the Shadow Realm forever, it was time to get back to looking. And with a new sandwich made, it only took a few minutes for a new Pokemon to shine. Oh, there we go. Hell yes. I'll switch from hell yeah. Okay. It is very obvious. And we also now still have 20 something minutes. Finally, with Citadel added to the squad, I could continue to search for more ice types without the worry of resetting over them. I went back to where I first started searching and was running into all sorts of different ice types with really cool shinies. And then instead of punishing me for sacrificing the Sneasel, the game decided to reward my decision to reset with yet another one. And with my past sins now seemingly erased, the vibes continued to rise as I had a feeling the ice sandwich had more to give. While the clock continued to tick down, I was worried I might have been wrong, but at the last second, I found yet another amazing shiny I had wanted for a while. Cubchoo! Oh, the shinies haven't ended just yet, chat. Everybody get out of here. It's Cubchoo time. Let's go! A little surprise right at the end. Nice. With another huge haul and technically 9 total shinies found on the day, I figured it was another solid place to call it a day and put another great day of shiny hunting in the books. By now, you guys probably know the drill. With another shiny target showing up as an outbreak, the first shiny of the day was pretty much decided for me. I headed back to the cave that had once yielded me a shiny Glammet back in the day, but this time I was looking for Noibat instead. Another incredible shiny nonetheless, and I was super excited to see it as an outbreak. I cooked up a nice dragon sandwich since there were multiple really cool dragon types in that cave and started looking around. And a whopping 3 minutes later, the first teal gamer showed itself. Oh. There we go. That was easy. I was so hyped finding this one right off the bat, no pun intended, and knew that with over 26 minutes left in the sandwich, there was huge potential to find multiple Noibat or even phase with another dragon type like Gibble or Bagon. But as much as I circled and picnicked to reset spawns, nothing looked like it was going to shine. But in the few waning moments of this sandwich, another shiny surprised me. Oh, let's go. There it is. Shiny Noibat number 2. I was grateful to have a second Noibat so I could evolve one to complete the line, but I was a little upset I couldn't end this hunt with Bagon since it's one of my favorite Gen 3 Pokemon and has a really distinct shiny. But with another 2 shinies in the bag, it was time for the second hunt of the day. For this next hunt, I was really excited because it was the first shiny hunt I planned on doing in Area 0. While Area 0 can be a little bit weird since you can't open your picnic menu to reset spawns, I was still hopeful we could find something. I spent the first 10 minutes of the sandwich just wandering around trying to remember where Iron Valiant even spawned in. Where is that cave also? I swore it was at Lab 2. And after being forced to look up a tutorial to find the cave I was looking for, I managed to finally get over and then start hunting for real. I thought I had totally fumbled this sandwich. It was going to need a reset since the spawns weren't super abundant, but I decided to keep searching and was almost instantaneously shown what I was looking for. That was so quick. Let's go. Oh my goodness, that was so fast. That was so quick. Since there's no Iron Valiant evolution, I wanted to give the rest of my sandwich time to something else. Given that Iron Hands is another one of my go-to Terra Raid Pokemon and spawned commonly with the fighting sandwich cooked, it was the ideal next target. So I ventured deeper into Area 0 to get a better spot to look for Iron Hands. And yet again, I found a shiny almost immediately. There's no shot. They make it too easy. They make it too easy, chat. While it wasn't Iron Hands, I found it hilarious that I found yet another shiny Pokemon so quickly. I continued the search, but as the sandwich timer ran out, I decided I might just have to come back and look for Iron Hands on another day. Next on the list was one of the OG Pokemon from these first Scarlet and Violet trailers. Lechonk took the hearts of everyone and has since been a staple Pokemon of Gen 9. And for that alone, I knew that I needed to shiny hunt this Pokemon at some point, but it also helps that it has an incredible shiny form. So I headed all the way back to Poco Path to bring this challenge full circle. Somehow this Pokemon spawned in way less than I remembered, even with an encounter sandwich cooked. So for the first time in this entire challenge, I went 30 whole minutes without seeing any shiny Pokemon. Luckily, resetting and making another sandwich managed to give me all the luck I needed as I stumbled across the pig only a few minutes later. Yeah. You are actually shiny, so that's huge. There we go. Okay. I stuck around to see if I could complete the line, and while I didn't manage to see any other pink pigs, I found something else along the way as well. Competitive. Also, that is a shiny Fletchling that I just watched run away. Stop. Stop. Get Lechonk. Leave. Go, go, go. Get out of here. There we go. And with yet another 2 shinies added to the box, I was feeling good for one more hunt to finish the day. The final type for the day was flying. And I just want to say that what happened with this sandwich is still pretty hard to believe. So with that heads up, enjoy this next one. I landed on finding Hawlucha as my flying type Pokemon because I love this Pokemon's design and think its shiny is also incredible, making it the perfect target for this challenge. I assembled a beautiful flying sandwich and got to work looking around one of the Pokemon centers. Within only a few minutes of creating this sandwich, I found Hawlucha, and then I lost it. Okay, well, one, we got it. Great, cool. Oh, I thought we lost that. I thought we lost that. Holy chat. We have found so many of these shinies instantly. I was so sure I lost this shiny Pokemon, but it managed to reappear once it got out of the range of the Pokemon Center, making it possible to catch. And with that disaster narrowly avoided, I got out of there and went to search for some other great flying Pokemon. Another flying type I've always loved in this game is Flamigo. While it is a little underwhelming, both in its lack of an evolution and also its shiny form, I had one on my team in my original playthrough of this game and really wanted to look for it. So after a lengthy rant about how hard it would be to find this Pokemon, I headed off to the fields in search of a slightly paler Flamingo. And what do you know, it showed up almost instantly. We already found it. We literally already found it, chat. That's mind-blowing. How? Literally how? I do not get it. I do not get it. I couldn't believe that I had found this shiny right away and was so thrilled to add it to the team. And with a ton of sandwich time left, I figured I could continue to test my luck. However, I didn't think this would go exactly like it did. Can we just do a loop? Just to laugh and see if there's anything out there. I promise I'm not cheating. I promise I am not cheating. I swear, chat, I will show you my Switch. I promise I am not cheating. This doesn't make sense. This moment definitely takes the cake for both the luckiest and craziest moment in my streams in a long time. But at this point, it felt like there was no stopping me. So I moved on to the next Pokemon, Rookidee, another yellow bird that I would love to add to my rapidly growing collection of flying type Pokemon. So I moved over to East Province Area 1 in a continued search for as many birds as I could find. And after an exhausting 14 minutes without a shiny Pokemon, and as all hope had been lost, a miracle occurred. The secret weapon has failed us. Oh, no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. That still counts. The next song is not started. Let's go. The next song had not started. For some additional context, there's this one song on my stream playlist that almost always seems to bring great shiny luck. And I thought that song had failed me until the shiny Rookity showed up as the final notes played, hence my excitement in that last clip. And with 4 shinies down and a couple minutes left on the timer, I felt like I had nothing to lose. I went over to the Kitakami region in search of Ducklet or Bombirdier, but despite my best efforts in the mass amount of storks on my screen, my luck for this run ended at 4 shinies. There was no other way stream could have ended, so I wrapped it up for the day, now with over half the types covered in just 3 streams. Following the last stream, I was eager to make more progress in this challenge. I started by flying back over to the Kitakami region to hunt down a ghost type. While brainstorming potential DLC hunts, Duskull came up a few times, and myself and my chat agreed that this shiny needed to be hunted at some point. But since I never got around to it during the DLC, this challenge seems like the perfect time to give this shiny the spotlight it deserves. Since it was nighttime, it was the perfect time to just stroll up and down the mountain in the same place I looked for Slugma, but this time around with a ghost sandwich. Right away, it was clear that this sandwich was going to be good, considering I found the first shiny in only a couple of minutes. Is this it? I think it is. Nice. Okay. That is less red than I thought it would be, but it still looks pretty good. I assume that in the daylight will look pretty insane. And the sandwich just kept giving. Literally 1 minute later, I found something else. Spawning in. Now that's your clip. Back to back with Mimikyu. I'll take it. And while it isn't exactly the best shiny ever, it was something else to add to the collection. But all good things must come to an end, and despite finding another incredible shiny, this time around, disaster struck. And guess what song is playing, chat? It never lets us down. It never fails us. Let's go. All right, I said we weren't going to get off to a crazy start, but it's looking that way. No. Wait, does that mean... Oh, God, why? I didn't know it could do that! This marked the first failed shiny encounter of the entire challenge, and I will honestly say that I'm pretty disappointed it was this one considering how awesome Chandelore's shiny is. But as the sun rose and the sandwich timer ticked to 0, I was a little upset about losing a shiny, but still glad I was able to land the 2 that I did. But this hunt involved more problems than just a failed encounter. This entire challenge I had been burning through Herba Mystica in order to boost my shiny odds for each hunt. And while this proved to be incredibly useful, I was beginning to run low, and with 7 types to go, hunting without those boosted odds didn't seem like a great option. So I took some time during stream to run a few terror raids in order to replenish my Herba supplies. And when I tell you I had the worst possible luck finding any Herba Mystica, I'm not kidding. I tried searching through 5-star dens for over 2 straight hours. And what did I find during this time? 1 single Herba Mystica that couldn't even be used with the few Herba Mystica that I had remaining. I could bore you with a bunch of footage, but I think this one clip sums up everything perfectly. Please. God damn it! And with more Herba Mystica clearly not in the cards for me at this time, I had to adapt my strategy. Around that time, a few members of my chat let me know that just using an encounter boosting sandwich without the Herba Mystica can be just as good. And while this does technically hurt my odds, I didn't see any better way forward. So I whipped up a psychic encounter power sandwich and got to searching for Fairy Giraffe. My 1 in 1,365 odds certainly didn't seem great, but after over 2 hours of unsuccessful Herba Mystica hunting, I think the game felt like it owed me one, leading to one of the craziest moments yet in this entire challenge. Keep in mind, all of these just have charm odds, so it's 1 in 6. That actually I think is wrong. Potentially like 1 in... Do another thing real quick. So chat, I have a crazy thing that I think I'm not entirely sure, but just bear with me. Just hang in there. I think you're going to be interested in how this resolves itself. That's a shiny. While I was frustrated that I took so long to look for Herba Mystica to no avail, this did raise some hope that non-sparkling power sandwiches could be a good alternative if the problem kept up. So I kept looking around Area 0, and somehow, with the worst odds of this entire challenge, I managed to get lucky again. Let's go! Once this giraffe finishes running through me. Okay. Glad I stayed. Look at that. That's a pretty sweet looking shiny. Somehow, even without boosted odds, I grabbed another 2 shinies, checked another type off the list, and found a potential solve to the Herba Mystica problem. But again, reality had to set in at some point. I tried to test my luck again with another basic and counter power sandwich while searching for a ground type, but found myself running into 2 problems. One, the Barboach I searched for barely ever even showed up, making me divert my search to Paldean and Wooper, and the other was that I saw 0 shinies. While this is to be expected with worse odds, it made me a little bit nervous to keep at this approach, knowing that I still had quite a few shiny hunts I wanted to get through at a quicker pace. So it was back to the drawing board, or in this case, back to the Terra Dens. After the last stream, I managed to cobble together some Herba Mystica through vigorous off-camera grinding, and with a couple more hours of my life gone forever, I was ready to continue on with this challenge. With enough herbs for sparkling power sandwiches, it was looking like a big day for progress. I started off returning to the hunt that originally derailed me on the Herba Mystica goose chase, Iron Thorns. But with replenished herbs on the sandwich and sparkling power going again, it was time to get to work. I was very excited for this hunt because Iron Thorns is by far the best Paradox shiny in Violet in my own opinion, so I headed towards the cliff that they always seem to spawn at and just started going up and down. And at the rate they were spawning, I felt pretty confident that Iron Thorns would shine in no time. With a few solid treks up and down the cliffs, the shinies were back. Oh. Well, there we go. There we go. Shiny Iron Thorns. It looks so good. I was glad that I was back on the board and there was still a little bit of time left to complete some unfinished business. I circled back to the 4th lab in search of Iron Hands, which had evaded me earlier in this challenge. But despite his best efforts, this shiny couldn't evade me for any more time. Oh, right there. All right, like I said. It's not exactly the most noticeable. I was thrilled to get this one added to the team and bolster my shiny Terra Raid Pokemon depth even further. I moved on from this early shiny success to a new hunt for a fairy type. For this challenge, I wanted to hunt for Fido. I think it has a really fun design and a subtle but great shiny form. And while I never used this Pokemon, I was excited to head over to Cortando in search of it. But upon my arrival there, I realized there was a bit of a problem. Despite my memory saying that this dog spawned there pretty frequently, I was disappointed to find that this place was overrun with Jigglypuff and Igglybuff, and just the occasional Fido when I could find it. After a bit of exploring, I determined the outskirts of Cortando were still the best place to search, but still not before encountering a bit of a surprise. Shiny Mareep! Okay, well, that's just full charm odds right there. I was so happy to find this amazing shiny, but similar to Sneasel, I already had a few in my copy of Shining Pearl and figured it might be more important to prioritize saving Herba Mystica considering the odyssey I had to embark on to get more. So I just hoped that Fido would be kind enough to show up so I could keep my shiny sheep. But as I learned, sometimes hoping just isn't good enough, and despite my best efforts circling Cortando over and over and over and over and over and over again, I found nothing at all. And with 2 Herba Mystica on the line, I felt that another sacrifice was in order. Unfortunately, this sacrifice was not as successful as the last one, and with yet another 30 minutes of circling, I was no closer to a shiny dog. So I decided to put this one on the back burner for now and move on to a different shiny for the final hunt of the day. This next shiny hunt was inspired by one of my viewers who posted a picture of their shiny Orthworm in my Discord, so shout out to Dream for the inspiration, and also you could consider this a not so subtle plug to join my Discord, link in the description. But moving on, it was time to hunt for the blue worm. With a steel sandwich prepared, I set out to the desert to begin the search, and immediately I regretted this decision. While the spawns were abundant, the frames certainly were not, making this hunt a pain visually. And the desert made me work for it too, but luckily it could only hold out for so long. This is so distinct. Oh. Finally a shiny. It's been too long. And with that done, I could finally leave this desert and move on to a more visually appealing hunt in the next stream. At the start of this stream, I only had 4 types left to find for this challenge, and I wanted to finish it up that day. So I got right to work, the 4 types left being Bug, Ground, Dark, and Fairy, and I decided to knock them out in that order. First on the list for the day was Surskit. I figured this one would be a pretty easy find, and I could not have been more right. I found a spot just outside of Mystica, and with a bug sandwich, Surskit was literally the only thing to spawn in. The lighting in this area was a little funky, leading to some confusion about whether a couple of Surskit were shiny or not, but after only a few minutes, the first shiny of the day was there.
I think that's our shiny, chat. I think that's our shiny. It sure is. All right, one down. Starting off the day solid.
Now that I knew exactly what this shiny looked like in game, I was sure that I could find a couple more before my sandwich ran out. But as many times as I circled and reset spawns, no other shinies appeared. And while I was a little disappointed, I still had a lot of work ahead of me, so I moved on to the next shiny hunt of the day. Up next was another shiny that had avoided me in my previous streams, and that was Paldean Wooper. This time I went back to the same area I looked for it before and ran into probably the craziest luck of this entire challenge.
Other sandwich, because the last one, I'll be honest, bit of a disappointment. We got a Surskit in like 5 minutes, and then it was just gone. There was nothing to be seen. Okay, that is the fastest we have found a shiny in this entire challenge. Okay, I take everything back. I take everything back. This game is great. I love this game. It's a very good game. I enjoy this game very much. That was in maybe 15 seconds. Taking a whopping 12 seconds to spawn in after making the sandwich, this Wooper set a record for the fastest shiny I have ever found. And I thought surely this was a sign of good luck to come for the rest of the stream. But I somehow spent the next 29 minutes and 48 seconds without seeing a single other Pokemon shine, and I was growing more frustrated, but again, duty called and I had to keep pushing forward. Following that, I wanted to give Fido one more shot at appearing in this challenge. So I repeated the process of circling around Cortanda with hopes high once again that this doughy dog would show itself. And with 30 more minutes gone, Fido still did not show up, signaling to me that it was time for a change. So I put it up to my chat to decide what Pokemon to search for instead of Fido for the fairy type, but in the meantime, I moved on to cover the dark type. Originally, my plan for the dark type was to hunt for Spiritomb, but after realizing that it only spawned in 3 spots on the entire map, and those spawns only reset once per day, I figured that I should look for something different if I wanted to get this challenge done in a reasonable time frame. So I decided to pivot for this one as well and went with looking for Pawniard instead. This Pokemon has a really cool blue shiny, and given the fact that it got an evolution added in Gen 9, it seemed like the perfect Pokemon to go in place of Spiritomb. So I got busy cooking up a dark type sandwich and went to the bamboo forest to look for this shiny guy. Starting off, things looked grim as I saw a ton of Pawniard but nothing shining. And given how bad my luck had been today compared to the last streams, I was worried that it was only going to get worse. But immediately after making a prediction on stream as to whether shiny Pawniard would show up, it decided that it was time to bring some luck to the believers and show itself. Ooh. Oh, thank God we found a shiny. No, everybody get out of here. Get out of here. Why there's 6 of you inside of... That sounds weird. Shiny Pokemon. Stop. Shiny Pokemon.
With shiny Pawniard found, it was down to one final type to complete this challenge. While I looked around for any other dark type Pokemon with the remaining sandwich time, spoiler alert, nothing showed up, chat had decided on my final Pokemon. And the Pokemon they landed on for this was Tinkatuff. I was happy with this pick because it was a Gen 9 Pokemon and had a subtle but great shiny that would make for a challenging but rewarding final hunt. And for this final hunt, I decided to call in the big guns. A couple members of my chat wanted to join to hunt for different fairy types, so they joined in and we collectively made the world's largest sandwich to boost the fairy type encounters and shiny odds. With that done, we all set out to look for our respective shinies. I went to the same area I found Citadel in, but this time it was overrun with Tinkatuff. The shiny just has a different color hammer, so it was certainly a shiny I was a little concerned about missing in the rush of going up and down the mountain, but it felt like with everyone in the game too, it was the perfect time to find the final shiny. I went up and down the mountain through snowstorms that made it almost impossible to see and all sorts of lag while I tried to hunt this thing, but still nothing showed up. And as time passed, I got more and more nervous. I had already been streaming longer than I thought it would take to find all of these shinies, and with some of the worst luck I'd had all challenge, I thought it might just not shine at all. I ventured further and further up the mountain in search for this Pokemon, and just when I had lost all hope, I was rewarded.
Come on. Please, I think that's it. Chat, we've done it. Let's go. The shiny gods finally smiled upon us. With minutes to spare, we've done it. All right, we need a pink Pokemon. Pink Pokeball. I think a heal ball works well enough. And there it is. With that, chat, we have caught one shiny Pokemon of every single type in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. From the OGs on day one of water, grass, and fire to the newest type, closing us out with the fairy type. I had now caught a shiny of each of the 18 types in Pokemon and caught a total of 37 different shiny Pokemon throughout this. This was by far my most intense shiny hunting challenge I had done yet, and I was so happy to see that it ended so well. If you've made it this far, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. This video took a ton of work to put together, but this challenge was so much fun and I'm so happy that I can share it with all of you. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel, as I have a bunch of videos planned for the future. Also, if you want to catch things like this when they happen live, make sure to check out my Twitch channel at I'mJamesLive_, where I'm live most days of the week, taking on all sorts of different games and challenges. With that, I want to say thank you again for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys all again in the next one.